Today, we're diving into a controversial new immigration scheme between the United Kingdom and France, one that has already sparked legal battles, political debate, and growing concern from charities. At the center of it all is the so-called one-in, one-out deportation system, and questions are now being asked about how it will affect asylum seekers, trafficking victims, and even Keir Starmer's broader immigration stance. The scheme works like this. For every person who arrives in the UK across the Channel in a small boat, the UK has agreed to send one asylum seeker back to France. It's meant to act as a deterrent, discouraging people from risking their lives on dangerous crossings. On paper, it sounds simple, but in reality, the process is already facing serious challenges. The very first deportation has already happened, and now a second asylum seeker is launching a legal case to prevent the Home Office from removing him under this arrangement. This latest challenge has brought to light some uncomfortable truths about how the system is being managed. In one case, an asylum seeker from Eritrea delayed his removal because the High Court ruled he should have at least 14 days to respond after the Home Office decided he was not a victim of trafficking or modern slavery. That case exposed a bigger shift in government policy. The Home Office has quietly changed its modern slavery guidance. Under the new rules, asylum seekers caught up in the one-in, one-out scheme can't go through the usual process of reviewing a decision inside the UK if they're told they are not victims of slavery. Instead, they may have to try to fight their cases from abroad, possibly from France, after they've already been deported. Critics say this creates a dangerous gap in protection. Many of the people being detained under the scheme have lived through trauma, torture, or human trafficking. They are vulnerable. And when interviews happen in the middle of the night, when someone hasn't eaten or is deeply stressed, their ability to explain their experiences clearly and use the right legal terms is severely limited. Charities argue this means legitimate victims of exploitation could slip through the cracks simply because they weren't in the right frame of mind during questioning. The government insists that the scheme is necessary to restore order at the border and to stop smugglers from profiting off desperate people. But the tension between controlling migration and meeting the UK's legal obligations to protect victims of modern slavery and trafficking is growing sharper by the day. This brings us to politics. Keir Starmer has positioned himself as tough on illegal migration, while also pledging to create a fairer, more workable asylum system. The question is whether this new one-in, one-out approach can be squared with those promises. On one hand, the scheme reflects a determination to manage channel crossings and show control. On the other, the legal challenges and human rights concerns risk undermining the idea of fairness and due process that Starmer himself has emphasized. The stakes are high. If courts continue to block deportations, the policy may unravel before it even fully begins. If deportations go ahead, vulnerable people may be left without meaningful protections. And politically, whichever way this plays out will feed into the wider debate about immigration, justice, and leadership in Britain. The France deportation scheme is not just about numbers and treaties. It's about real people caught between two governments, a shifting legal system, and a wider political struggle. And with Keir Starmer under pressure to show both strength and compassion on immigration, this issue is only going to get louder. So the question we all need to ask is this: can the UK balance border control with its duty to protect the most vulnerable, or is a one-in, one-out scheme destined to create more problems than it solves? That's where things stand for now.